walk across the corridor. We got something to show you. Media is our repertoire. Fed up with the same news, no channel to use. Cruise control mentalities. Here we offer you. We gon' show you how you play. The content it never stays, but positive and uplifting. Once a week the scope gifted. Let's hear it from fake. Hydration like Boucher.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the livest media tech and pop culture party in the land. This is MediaScope. We are all things media tech and pop culture, and we're here on Fridays at around 8-ish p.m. I already explained every week that I have a network, Indie Soup Media, and we stop at around 8 p.m. So I have to make sure everything is cool and copacetic with that. And then I get on here. So somewhere between 8:15 and 8:30, I'm usually on. Don't hold me down for a time because it's not going to happen. But in any case, thank you all so much for being here. And let me talk about where we are. YouTube, let me point. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitch, all simultaneously. And for those of you in the Caribbean, you can listen to us on Thursdays at 2 p.m. on Gospel 107.1 FM in Nassau, Bahamas, and the rest of the Caribbean. Blessings to all of you. Yeah, I love you all so much. So thank you all so much for being here. It's a Friday night. It almost didn't happen tonight because, and let me just give a precursor and preamble that just in case there's a little dragging or slowness, there was some slowness with my internet, and I did not know if I was going to be able to handle going live. So I said, all right, we may not be able to do it tonight. And I actually got an announcement ready saying that we weren't going to go live tonight, that it would be tomorrow. But guess what? I kind of tested everything and it's working for now. So it's working for now. And guess what? Everybody just send up prayers and positive energy and burnt offerings that, that this goes well. And we already have a comment here. Joan Balcom, my wonderful soror. Hello, soror Joan. How are you? Welcome in to the fold, and everybody who's lurking. Thank you so much for being here. We adore the lurkers. We like some lurk now. So thank you so much for being here. Listen, and the Queen of Food Truckery, Minister of Libation, Serena Wills is here. Serena, I hope you are feeling fantastic. Yes, you're feeling much better. It is so wonderful to see you. Well, we've got the Delta contingency in the house. Is there any other? That's a terrible thing to say. There are others, but I have to big up the members of my organization, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, always here, and they're CQ. They're always here supporting. And actually, I've known Serena from before CQ. So I'm happy that you all are here. Fantastical. And look, the food truck is here. We probably have some specials. So I can't wait. So Joan Balcom is throwing up the mids, and Serena is throwing up the mids too. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. It is going to be quite a night tonight. Listen, I have some stories. That's why I was about to be really sad if I could not come on, because I'm like, I have some good stories, right? I have some good stories. Like, people are like, those are the good coupons, right? When you go shopping, oh, those are good coupons. These are good stories, right? Better than coupons. Well, not really. Anyway, let me know. Sorry, I was a little loud there. Let me know how everything is going in your world, how you're feeling, what you ate tonight, what you did today, what you're doing this weekend, how the weather is. I want to know all about what's going on. Let me know. It's warm here. So listen, if you're like looking like, oh, that looks like a summer hat, that's right, because it's still summer here. Summer does not end till December. And then it becomes mid-fall. It really is not fall. It still gets hot. So you have like one day that it gets cold and then it goes back to normal, which I am just fine with. So we basically kind of wear this kind of stuff all year round. When I first moved here, of course, I still had winter stuff, and I'm like, I'm going to make some of this winter stuff work. Yeah, you just can't sometimes. So some things you can do, like I still have some tweedish hats. I do have very few jackets, but this is the look because it's summer here all year. So let's see. So Sarita says, yes, We go back when Jordan was in kindergarten or first grade. My Lord. Yes. Yes, it had to be like 2017 or so. 2000, yeah, 17 or 18, probably 17. Wow. I can't believe it. And Serena says that it was 39. Mm. A moment of silence for the people in the DMV for it being 39 in the morning. But then it went up to 65. Now, 65 is nice. 65 is nice. But 39? That's frost weather. Sheesh. And it is Taco Friday. We're not here on Tuesdays for Taco Tuesdays, but we are here on Fridays. So we make it a Taco Friday. So if you are so inclined, please make sure you get some tacos from the food truck. Serena is serving them up fresh and hot. In case you didn't know, yeah, there's a food truck. Imaginary as it may be to you, but we can see it. What are you not seeing? So make sure you order up something from the food truck, fresh and hot. And she said, yes, it was brisk. And yes, it was 2017. My goodness, my goodness. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. All right. So, folks, we do have some stories to get to. I'm not trying to hold you all night. I do want us to get off in 1 hour, just about exactly. So let's go ahead and see if we can start with some media news, right? And continue to let me know how you're doing, how you were, what's up. You can put those in because you know I'll always go back to your comments. Let's get started with media though. Okay, and before we get to our media story, let me look and see. Stephen Kaplan is joining us on Facebook, and he says, what's up, girlfriend? Too hot in New York, New Jersey, hitting 73 degrees. It's mid-October. Do you want it colder? Listen, don't ask for it to be colder because you just may get your wish. And then you all will be bundled in parkas as if you're residents of Antarctica and then complaining. Listen, what I've learned, except for winter, I don't like winter. I've never liked winter. I grew up in harsh winter the whole time I was little. So yeah, I'm not digging winter. But if I was in a place that was wintry, first of all, I would think about how can I move to Tahiti? That's one. Second of all, I would take it in stride. Just appreciate what the different seasons bring. Me talking to you where there's only one season. That's right, because that's how I want it. That's exactly how I like it. I like summer all year round. I'm an African. What do you want? Anyway, so, well, I hope the weather turns out the way you'd like to. Stephen Kaplan is an amazing photographer. He's a social media person. Make sure you are following him on Facebook. He's wonderful. And, he said he's headed to Romania for a Halloween gig in Transylvania and Dracula's You've got to explain exactly what that is and what that means. That seems so cool. Is it social media related? Is it photography related? Please, is it all of it? Let us know because that seems super cool. Serena says it's been a tough week of losses. We need some libations. Absolutely. So you could get any type of libation you want, 50% off. Yes, yes, yes. And of course, that brings us to our first. I'll give a little bit of first story. I talked about this. You know, I was on Tuesday, guys. In case you didn't know, I was here with Gwendolyn R. Houston Jack. She and I did a Paris Fashion Week recap. It was amazing. So much fun. It's still up on the YouTube channel. And for a little bit of time, you can get it on the Facebook. Did I do Facebook? I did. I did all the channels. So you'll be able to see it for a little bit of time because guess what, guys? If you're watching on Facebook, lives disappear after 30 days. And what I'm not going to do is re-upload them. So you just won't see. They'll be put in the Disney vault forever. So you'll just have to come over to YouTube, which is our major platform, and go ahead and watch it that way. But we did that, and we did do a little bit of a tribute to fashion and D'Angelo's approach to fashion. So, in case you had not heard, D'Angelo passed away this week at the age of 51 after a private battle with pancreatic cancer. So sad. And people are really hit hard. We're losing so many young people. 51 is not old, that's a baby. And we lost him. So very sad. So if you are a D'Angelo fan, put in the chat what your favorite song is. I really love Another Life. It's such a beautiful song. It was off the last album, or the final album that he had. Oh, why can't I remember the name of it? Somebody will put it in for me, but that's like the last track on the last album. So rest well. And please make sure you send some thoughts and positive energy to his children, because I'm sure particularly Michael, who lost his mother, Angie Stone, and his father, D'Angelo, in the same year. So awful, so awful. And Ron Foster is here. And yes, YouTube, baby, he says. I 100% agree. And look who's here. J. Amy Ashworth. How are you? It is so good to see you. She says, I prefer YouTube, but this is good to know. Yeah, I prefer YouTube as well. But yeah, you will not be seeing. Let me tell you what I'm not going to do in 2025, or for the rest of 2025 in the year of our Lord. I am not overexerting myself for platforms who could give ne'er a damn. Therefore, you will not see. That's why I'm not on Instagram. Now, I post things on Instagram, definitely. Periodically, you will see me do a live, especially if I'm out and about. But as far as doing this, no, it's too much work. It's too much work, and I don't see the output. I don't see the payoff. At some point, yeah, stuff is free, but at some point I have to see the payoff by me, and that's either numbers or whatever. So the numbers on Instagram were good, but not good enough to warrant me going back and forth. So guess what? If you can't get it through the broadcast, you can't. So you have to come over to the places where we are. Let's see. Boo Book of Yeah, boo you, exactly. Boo you, Bookface. Boo to you. Let's see what else is happening. I think I see Sawyer. What is up, Sawyer? Susan Sawyer is joining us from Los Angeles, well, the Los Angeles area anyway. And Serena says she was a huge, or is a huge, D'Angelo fan. She saw him in 2000. That must have been something else. The last album, thank you, Black Messiah. I was like, what is I loved, was Africa on the Black Messiah album as well? I think it was. I loved Africa, obviously, and then I loved Another Life. But his music was just so groundbreaking. I know it sounds very trite and it sounds corny, but it was groundbreaking. I know he was not a fan of the label neo soul in terms of his music, but he really was, for our intents and purposes, the progenitor of neo soul, and he will be missed. Okay, Ron is saying, hey to Serena. Jeanette says, I'm doing fine. These are crazy times in the world, trying to support people and causes I believe in. Oh my good. Amen to that. One of these days, I'm not going to be too lazy to hook up my my Rodecaster Pro so that I could do sound effects, right? I have it. I have a lot of stuff. But this is the thing. The people that you see have a whole bunch of stuff up, they have permanent setups where they're not moving stuff around. I do not. You know where I am. This is the studio, but this is also my living room. And what I don't want to see on the table all the time is equipment, right? So I tend to put it away. And then maybe I get a little bit lazy and I'm like, well, I'm not going to bring out the mixer, or I'm not going to bring out the Rodecaster Pro. I try to do things not as bare bones, but anyway. So one of these days I'm going to do that. So Sarita says favorite song is Africa. Okay, so Africa was on the Voodoo album. Thank you. Followed by Send It On. Loved all three of his albums. I do too, and I have all three of them. Although I have the last album, Black Messiah, I have it on my computer because I got it from iTunes. So I don't have when it came out in 2014. Sheesh. Stefan says, traveling with a group of writers for a writer's workshop expedition, and I am the photo guide sharing insight on how to be more creative with visuals. Love this for you. Google Kirsten Koza and Dracula expedition. Oh, Kirsten leads amazing expeditions around the world. I am going to look that up. I love to hear that you all are doing things. If you have good news, put it in the chat because God knows we need some good news. So that's amazing. Everybody clap it up for Stefan. Yay. Let's see. Arlesia Mays is here and she says, I've been listening to Another Life on repeat all week. Black Messiah with the Vanguard. Thank you. Yes. Yeah, you know what? When I first got that album, that was the song that I repeated over and over. It's just the chords. There are like something like 20 different chord combinations he has in there. It's a phenomenal song, just stellar. And okay, Africa is on Voodoo. Thank you. He did a show in Constitution Hall. Wow, the concert was out of this world. He performed both Brown Sugar and Voodoo albums. He really doesn't have to do any, or didn't have to do any other albums, just because though I would go to see just based off of those three. And I lament that I never did go to see him. Hey, Annie Osung says the payoff from lives is building a community of people who know, like, and trust you. They are the people who go on to do business with you when the time is right. You are 100% correct. 100% correct. This is why I believe in the power of live. And I'm actually very excited to get to the story that I have, but I'm loving the conversation. So what I'm going to do is we'll keep talking in the chat, keep talking D'Angelo or whatever. I'm going to go to this first story and let's talk a little bit about this. And actually, so I will put up the media. You know what? Actually, let's do this. I will put up the article because there is a video in it. And you all let me know if you can hear the video as well. So let me preface this with, we're talking AI music. We have a lot of AI stories tonight, okay? So it's a media and tech and pop culture mishmash of things tonight. And AI, if you're living under a rock, I don't know what to tell you, but AI is it. AI is the thing here. Let me take down this comment. There we go. Okay, so AI is really the big thing that's on everybody's lips, on the tip of everybody's tongue these days. And it's even creeping into places you wouldn't think. So AI music is a huge thing. There is an AI, I told you all this summer when I was part of the cohort for the Pharrell Williams Fundable Founders cohort from Black Ambition. We had, why was I going to call him Thundercat? Timbaland, because 3 syllables. Timbaland came, and he has started an entire AI agency. I think it's not Ground Zero, it's something zero. So I'll look it up in just a moment. But we're going to take a look at another AI influencer musician who's making waves, both good and bad. All right, so let's share this. And I am going to let you, okay, I'm sharing the audio, so let me know. Hopefully you all could see this because I'm running this. I can't really see you all, but I will switch back for the comments. And so again, this is Zania. Is it Zania or Zania Monet? I'm saying it like she's a real person, but we're quickly getting to where these AI personalities are becoming real to certain people. And I can't wait to hear what you all think about this. So apparently she's on the rise. But I don't mind telling you, I have never heard any of her music. All right, so this is from Instagram. I am going to play this and then make sure that you let me know if you can hear it. Here we go.
An AI artist named Zania Monet just signed a $3 million record deal with Howard Media. But not everyone in the music industry is celebrating. Kehlani has been one of the loudest critics, saying in a TikTok video that AI-generated music actually displaces artists. She called Zania Monet a computer program that's taking up creative space. SZA also chimed in, writing "I hate AI" on her Instagram story and pleading to her fans not to make AI music or images of her. Former Interscope exec Neil Jacobson runs the full-service record label that signed Zania Monet. Now, this isn't Jacobson's first bet on AI. He previously signed virtual artist M. Oliver and even declared that AI is the future of the music industry. Zania Monet is already making noise on the Billboard charts. She even has a track that has almost broken the top 20 on the Hot Gospel Songs list. She also debuted at number 25 on the Emerging Artists list. But behind the avatar is a real creator. Mississippi poet and designer Talisha Jones writes the lyrics and then uses AI to bring the songs to life. The tech powering Zania Monet is called Suno. It's an AI platform that generates vocals and instrumentals. Now, Suno is already beefing with record labels, facing multiple lawsuits that it trained its AI on copyrighted music without permission. The company argues that it relies on public data and should fall under fair use. But the legal fight is far from over. Even with that uncertainty, Hollywood Media still jumped in with a multi-million-dollar deal on the AI artist. And Zania Monet has other heavyweight backing. She's already established a strong online presence with over 110,000 followers on Instagram and official management. Timbaland has also publicly praised her music and serves as a strategic advisor to Suno. But the renowned artist has found himself in some legal trouble of his own due to his AI music. Timbaland came under fire after a video showed him uploading a beat from another producer into Suno. He later apologized after being accused of misusing another artist's work. Timbaland also launched his own AI-focused label, Stage Zero, and signed his first AI artist, Tachi, blending human creativity and AI sounds under his full supervision. Now, the rise of Zania Monet is sparking a bigger debate. Is this really the future of music, or the start of a fight over what artistry really means? Now, regardless of which side you're on, it's clear the music industry needs to set some boundaries around AI-generated music. Award shows like the Grammys have already started that conversation, laying out what qualifies for recognition and what doesn't. As AI continues to push further into music, those conversations will only grow louder.
Okay. I can't wait to hear your thoughts on this. I'm going to talk a little bit about this first with regard to the awarding. And I knew that was going to be a thing. They're already starting to make standards of what qualifies for award. Awardship is not a word, but I like it. So we're going to say that. What qualifies for awardship according to the Academy. So that would be the Recording Academy for the Grammys, the American Music Awards, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm sure this will span over many different countries, not just here, because this is a worldwide phenomenon. So they're looking at what qualifies. But I want to say this. This was the same conversation that the Motion Picture Academy, right? The equivalent for that, the people who do the Oscars and the Television Academy. This was the same argument that they had when Netflix and streamers were entering, particularly Netflix, because remember, they were first in terms of having things that were worthy of being awarded. Steve, and I keep bringing up Steven Spielberg, but his mouth was the loudest when it came to this. People were like, I'm up in arms, get off my lawn. So this was the same argument, albeit I understand. These were natural people making things. This was not AI. But I'm saying for equivalency's sake, this was the same argument that they were making against having Netflix eligible for being awarded, their programming being awarded, right? So it sounds eerily similar to me. What say you? Let's take some comments. Here we go. Let's see. So Mark Ward, hello, how are you? Says, soon it will be like carnivores versus vegans. Would you like your music with the meat of humanity or sanitized and potentially flavorless? Vegan food can be quite tasty, Mark Ward, if I do say so myself. And he says, no offense to vegans, there are some great vegan dishes. Yes, there are. There are. I love vegan food. You know, you just have to take time with it. But I would say you have to take time with anything, even meat, if you eat meat. So let's see. Mark Ward also says the future of the music industry, as in how do we acquire the most money possible without the irritation of fair wages, human interactions, and creative differences. And yes, that's the key differences. My thing is, I'm looking at the money end of it. Everybody's looking at the money end of it. The industry and these new agencies that are cropping up representing these AI beings, they're looking at the money end of it and how they can cut off. That's really cutting out a lot of money out of the picture when you don't have to pay an artist, when you don't have to, although remember, there is humanity behind it. You saw in the story, there is humanity behind the artist. It's not creating itself, not yet anyway. There are people behind them, not coding, they're prompting and bringing these things to life, right? So there are humans still behind all of this, but you're paying far less, I'm sure, than if it was an actual human going out on tour, making the music. You're paying for you. You understand what I'm saying? So it's far less so for them, it's worth it. But on the other end of this are the artists, the real artists that get cut out of the equation. And let's be clear, this world was already very small. How many people do you know that sing or play instruments and are just magnificent, but have never got a record deal in the least? Because the world is very small. It's the same thing with like actors, etc. How many of us out there want to be actors or act and have never been in anything that people could see, right? Well, from Hollywood anyway, right? There are so many people. I would probably say for every 10 people that get to Hollywood and semi make it, there are probably thousands who don't. So these worlds are already very small, and now you're making it even smaller by cutting out actors and singers and artists entirely. I can understand where the uproar is. I definitely understand the uproar. I will also say this. They don't care. The arguments that they're all making are very valid and humanistic. You would have to see these people as humans for this to care. They do not care. They're trying to make money. And if it means I can make more money by cutting you out of the equation, they're going to do this. So what do we have to do, folks? We have to get smart. We need to use AI to our advantage. We need to learn to properly rein it in, know how to prompt properly, and say, what am I going to do? And then further, you better not just have one stream of income anyway. The days of that are over. Good government job with a pension, that's done. Okay, so you need to have several streams of income, particularly if you are in artistic, creative fields where your paycheck is not always guaranteed. You need several streams. So learn AI, learn to teach AI, understand AI, see how can I use AI to my advantage. Okay, rather than, because you can complain, but nobody cares. That's the thing. No one cares. We may care, but for real, nobody. The people who can make things happen, they don't care. Let me see if you guys have some comments. Kimmy is here, and she says, good evening. Good evening to you, my friend. Good evening indeed. Jeanette says, I appreciate the many positive aspects of AI, but how can we balance them with the ethical concerns? People are very worried. The average listener or viewer for visual creative arts has no power, 100%. And I agree. It is something to be worried about, particularly because it can be used for nefarious things. So we should all be worried about it. But this is not a new argument. These are the same arguments that were made at the dawn of the internet and the .com. Remember the whole .com boom and then bubble burst? But all of these things, whenever a new technology comes about, there's the same argument. We talked about this on Biz Chicks. Well, the people who for example, clean the roads after you, when it was horse and buggies and horses, the horses messed up everything on the roads because they, were using the bathroom all over the place. And there were jobs of people who were to keep the streets clean. Well, when they debuted the automobile, you really didn't need that anymore so of course people are all up in arms whenever anything new comes up because that can cut you out. But the thing is, that means you're only a one-trick pony. You better learn how to do something. Rather than shoveling, what you need to do is say, how can I get on the board on that train to learn how to fix automobiles? How can I get in on helping to build them? So it just required, because I agree with you, Jeanette. It is something to be worried about. But I think that there's less worry when you have an understanding of it and you know how to use it for your purposes for good now, for good. That's just my thought. But I do know everybody has different thoughts about it. Let's see. Jeanette also says there's power in consumer choices, but these are major new trends. They are major new trends. But again, I would say, every time there is new technology, this is the same conversation that we have. And the ones who get left behind are the ones who don't embrace it. I'm not saying everybody has to be building AI worlds, but what I am saying is everyone needs to understand it because it's inevitable, whether we want it or not. Thank you for saying I'm on point, and thank you for agreeing. These are just my thoughts. The thoughts of Dr. Tachi are not necessarily the thoughts of the audience. So, and it's okay to have different thoughts, definitely. Mark Ward said, I'm about to announce the release of my new... Listen, you jest. Don't be surprised if I come up with something AI, but it's always, with me, it's always AI for good. It's always that. So I'm just waiting to go to I've been to some AI events, but I want to remember, like not even a couple, it was 5 years ago when I was going to the NFT and crypto events and showing you guys. I want to do that. By the way, that was really too far ahead of its time, which is why it's not around now. I think it was too far ahead of its time, but it's something to watch. It will come back around. Believe me, blockchain, it's coming back around. So watch that. But I want to do some more recording and filming at AI events. So look out for that. If I find some here, we will go. Yes, I said we. All right. And I could do it. Yeah, I could. but music, I don't know. That's not my thing. It is 100% about the Benjamins. It's about nothing else. Let's see. One thing I've learned is to keep learning new skills. It's the only way. It is the only way, Stefan. It is the only way. And yeah, is it tiring? Yes, it is. But do you want to work? Yes, you do. And so you just press on. This is what we do, or you get left behind, right? Alicia says, do re mi. Are you auditioning for one of these roles? Let me know. Jeanette also says this: the ethicists in the big companies, often brilliant folks who can give their opinions, but it's often just noted and then they move on to the money-making aspects of data. Yes. Companies are there to make money. That's it. There are very few large companies that I can point to that really, really have a strong moral compass and are very concerned about the future of technology and the effects on humanity. When they may be concerned about the technology, but only because they didn't get in soon enough. I could, and I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. So it is what it is. All right, folks, let's see. We got another one from LinkedIn. AI music creators must add AI music creators must add their personal touch to their AI generated music. Anyone can create sounds on software, but it is the process of refining the songs to make them truly unique, truly your unique sound that will make creators stand out. 100% correct. I'm loving this conversation. It's deep brain stimulation on a Friday evening. Yeah, isn't this better than getting yourself sloppy drunk? Maybe not, but it is for me. Let's do this. We're going to go on to the next story because we've already been talking for half an hour, which is great, but I don't want to hold you all night. We're going to be an hour tonight. So let's see how many stories we can get in, and the rest I will post. I've been thinking too, guys, about doing, remember how I used to do MediaScope briefs? I don't know if you do. Mark Ward probably does, but I was going to go back to trying to do those maybe 3 times a week and pull in some of these stories so that we don't have to wait for everything on Friday. So, and if anybody wanted to discuss any of the stories on Friday, we could, but that's just something that I'm thinking about. Let me know what you think, if that would be something you would watch or be into. Okay, let's do this. Let's go to the next one. Speaking of androids, we weren't speaking of androids, but we are now. Okay, so this is from the Hollywood Reporter, and this article is called How Hollywood Learned to Love Influencers. And I wanted to bring this up since we're talking about AI influencers. I want to talk about now the influencer industry, but influencers in terms of folks, people, real people. Now, I have been sick when I read this, and I want you all, if you have time, to go and read this too. I said, did I say this? I've been telling people, but nobody listens because apparently I'm chopped liver. But I've been saying this. So generally what is happening is Hollywood is now starting to pay attention to YouTubers, to people that are popular on TikTok or TikTokers, to people that are Instagrammers, people that have a large social media presence, and not just a presence, but a large following of people that will follow them into a volcano. Let me tell you, nobody is immune. I'm not immune, but I use prudence with who I follow or whom I follow, right? So finally, it has flipped, but is it too late for Hollywood? You tell me what you think, because for the longest time, it's always like, we're on YouTube. We don't put our stuff up on there. They did not take content creators seriously and influencers seriously. So there was always this poo-pooing of them by not just the Hollywood directors and people that make decisions, but also actors, as if they weren't real or doing things real. Well, how the tables have flipped upside down like Jesus flipped the tables in the temple, because now they're all trying to get and sign these people. So if you know Miss Rachel, have you seen Miss Rachel? She does children's programming on ABCs and songs. So she does that on YouTube, and very popular. Well, Netflix pulled her to do 4 episodes for Netflix of, I think she's called Miss Rachel. I don't know what the show is called, but they pulled her to do 4 episodes. So rather than they're trying to do that. Netflix, the CEO, Ted Sarandos, or co-CEO there too, Ted Sarandos, said point blank, we are looking to bring in influencers from social media. They're all trying to scramble, because guess what? Look at their platforms. All of the, just television in general, streaming, look at their platforms. You have the same 10 actors that you always use. And this is not any dig at the actors to say that they're not good. You're excellent, but we've seen you already before, and we can't identify with you. This person I saw over there on TikTok, not only do I love what he or she does, they also talk back to me. If they come on live, I was like, hey, such and such. You said hi? That's what we like. That is what people like. Gone are the days where we're okay with you being unobtrusive stars and we can't touch you. We want reality, in a sense, right, to the people that are notable in our lives. And that's what they like. And so now this is what Hollywood is trying to chase after. However, you can't just pick up let me tell you what you can't do, because let me give you 2 examples of people who have successfully, especially one successfully, crossed over to the YouTube world. So let's look at news. Now, this was out of necessity, Don Lemon and Joy Reid, right? Out of necessity, they came over to YouTube. They're still journalists. They still had a message. How do we disseminate our message? YouTube. Very soon, before the end of the year, Don Lemon will have a million subscribers on YouTube. And these are not just people who subscribe. He's also got paid subscribers, the Lemon Heads. So he's formed a whole community. And that's the thing. That's what will not work, Hollywood, if you all don't get that it's not just about the eyeballs. You have to form a community with the people. It is about the community and not just about the numbers. And something tells me, yeah, you're looking at it. You're looking at trying to get into that world, but you're not going to do it right because you don't get the community part. And no matter how many times any of us tell you this, because we've been telling you for years, oh, well, look at this. No. So it's going to take you another 10 million years before you realize, oh, let's form communities. I can't help people who don't want help. Let me look at the comments and see what you all are saying. And there are quite a few. Let's see. Let me go back a little bit. Stefan says it's mentally exhausting, but the alternative is to get left behind. And that ain't happening in vernacular. Ain't. After all, kiddo just started at Rutgers. Oi, to college tuition. Wow, well, congratulations. I had no idea. Have we known each other that long that your child is now at Rutgers? I swear, time is flying. And Mark Ward said companies that are concerned with humanity have been added to that list. Yes, you're correct. You're correct. You're correct. And Jeanette is agreeing with Stefan. Agree, the companies need good folks on the inside. And it's important not to be left behind. Serena says, I had an interview for contract work. No person in the room AI-driven questions, was asking AI-driven questions. And I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. The average, unless you're going to work for a tech company, they're probably not going to ask. And you're going to be one of the few probably that would be interested in that. People are setting themselves up for failure by not knowing. And this is not one where you have a choice. You have to know. Let's see. Who else am I missing? Jeanette says, however, we have no idea where all this will be in the next 5 years or 10 years. I think we will all be amazed. I hope amazed in a nice way, in a good way. Let's see. Okay, so now let's go forward a little bit. And okay, all right. Speaking of Android, says Stefan, just got the new Samsung S25 Ultra. It's sweet. Wow. Okay, I'm not getting another phone until I am an Android girl. So sorry for those of you that are iPhone, but know that most of the world uses Android, not iPhone. The US is very iPhone centric, although there are quite a number of us who do use Android. So I'm an Android girl. So I have I don't know what this, this is the 22. Yeah, the 22S Ultra. So yeah, I'm not due for one for another 10 years. We'll see. But let me know how you like it. Let me know how you like it. This was followed by the article, How Mark Ward is Irritated by Influencers. Listen, they can be irritating. I was just talking to G about how an influencer irritated me with basically asking, let me tell you what I don't like, bigotry. I understand when you need it, but this particular influencer just got a home and did like a registry, like an Amazon registry for things. And she said it was because, people asked, oh, well, can we get you? Okay, so I'm just going to do a registry. But no, you don't have to do everything people ask you to do. Instead, this is the thing. You can afford that. You can buy those things. What I'm not going to do is use my money to buy somebody who's making a lot of money things. I'm not doing that. But would I do it if you were donating those to like a city mission or something? Absolutely. So I think the influencing, yes, get paid. I am not knocking people for driving what you want to drive, buying what you want to buy. Not at all. We all like nice things, but don't ask for these things from people. I'm different. Let me just be quiet, because if she likes it, I like it for her. But it irritated me, so I understand. Let's see. Steph doesn't do volcanoes. You won't walk into a volcano after somebody, okay? Jeanette says to Serena that she's noticed more people appear to be AI, or people appear to be AI creations within a company where a startup creates employees. Seems quite odd and misleading. Now, yeah, that is a thing, because what happens with smaller companies is this is something my business coach taught me, to use technology, to hire technology first, because many of us cannot afford to hire staff. So you hire technology. And for some of these people, they will be AI agents. And that is the big thing, creating AI agents. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it, because the companies have bots, right? I think as long as you disclose that, hey, I'm such and such, the assist, make sure you disclose what it is. I don't know what the rules are around that, but I think it's okay if you disclose, because there are lots of small businesses that cannot afford to hire staff. So the first thing you hire is technology. Let's see. And I agree, it should be clearly labeled. Let's see. It's always about community. Work at it and it grows 100%. Let's see. And he says, you are 100% correct. It's about engaging with our audience and building relationships with our community. That is the bottom line. We're not getting on live or making content to talk to ourselves. We're doing it for an audience. We ought to be thankful that we have an audience, acknowledge that audience, and take their points of view into consideration. Now, I'm not going to do everything, right? But just to say, oh, and look who is here. Kofa, Dr. Harris says, I am Miss iPhone. Well, good for you, Dr. Harris. Good for you. And yes, label your identity. Yes, 100%. So let's get on to, we have a little bit of time. We have like 15 minutes left before we have to get off, and not have to get off, but before I let you off, because I don't want to take up all of your time. Let's move on to some other stories. This is still kind of related to this. Now, you probably don't know what this is. I'm about to tell you. Lionsgate actually has hired TikTok fan editors to market their movies. Okay. So as you know, there are lots of fan edited movies, fan cuts of movies that exist on TikTok and in different places. You can even find them on YouTube. So there'll be popular movies and they edit it in a way that kind of tells the story they want to tell, or tells a different story. And fan edits are wildly popular. Okay. So this is for once, I see the industry doing something that makes sense. So let me take this down. So they said, okay, well, instead of having our editors replicate these types of things, which would seem super corny, why don't we hire these editors from TikTok to help us make these things? So they're really trying to push, for example, a film, where they're trying to push these movies. Instead of doing it themselves, they'll just pay these editors from TikTok that do these sorry. All right. These editors from TikTok that do these wonderful fan edits. That makes sense, right? Too much sense, because they haven't done it yet. I mean, they haven't done it up until now. So they're doing these different montages of films. And let's see, there's one from a fan community around titles from The Summer I Turned Pretty to Barry Lyndon. So lots of different Lionsgate films. So Hulu and Paramount Plus, those studios, they're also looking at this as well. So this whole thing that we've talked about, these first few stories, are the trends that are happening in entertainment that involve AI, that involve looking at the creator economy. And it is not, you hear this, none of this is traditional industry. This is where we're going. Now, raise your hand if you remember me telling you all this. I've been saying this for years. Again, I'm chopped liver, so nobody is listening, but I've been saying that this is what is happening. And it's like, when adults tell things like this happens with my students, right? Sometimes I would tell, yeah, do this, or you should do this. Oh, okay. But then I bring in a guest. Oh, that's a great idea. Fool, that's what I said to do 2 years ago. Okay. It's that same type of thing. Nobody listens to me. Nobody listens. So thoughts on this? Let me know what you think about it. Would you take a gig doing that? So what they had is they looked at about 200 people doing this, and they got a core of 15 for Lionsgate, and these 15 are doing those edits. I think it's actually kind of cool. Jeanette says this, good to know, but what if the employee has a fake bio with fake attendance at college? I saw that the other day, so that's not right. No, absolutely correct. But see, you cannot just put everything in the hands of AI or technology. You have to do a little bit of follow-up work. This is why colleges have transcripts, right? And you get them official transcripts sent directly from the college. You can find out if somebody went to college now. There should be no reason that people are falling for, I did not, that somebody went to college or did not go to college or has the qualifications or don't. Although there are some people who fake their way into things, hence the state of the world now. Anyway, let's see. Mark Ward says, I do it. When do I start? If it were up to me, you could start tomorrow. Bryson Leach is here. What's up, Bryson? It is wonderful to see you. Thank you for coming on a Friday night. He is BBC, not BBC, but BBK. I call him that because Bryson be knowing. So he is BBK. Sarita says hello, and Amma says cool. Absolutely. All right, let's see what else we can get in our final 9 minutes of time together. I'm so glad we have this time together in the words of Carol Burnett. All right, let's go on to, I think I want to, let's do this. Is that right? No, yes, it is. Okay. So Netflix is actually going to stream a selection of Spotify video podcasts starting next year. So listen. If you have a podcast, this is something it may not be you, but it's something to think about, right? So shows from The Ringer and Spotify Studios are going to initially be available on Netflix in the US. So everybody is getting into the podcast business. Some people need to put the microphones down, but everybody is getting into the podcast business, and Netflix, Spotify, they're taking note. So they've inked a deal with Spotify to bring a batch of top original podcasts, including Bill Simmons' The Ringer, to subscribers worldwide. Now, this is huge. Let me take down this. This is a big deal. And again, this is not everybody who has a podcast on Spotify. This is certain ones, right? But to me, this also says to keep going. Too many people start podcasts. There's so many people that start podcasts and they do it for 1 week and they're like, I didn't make $1 million yet. We're stopping. This is the long game. All of this content creation is the long game. These people that you see that may be making bank now, as we would say, right? Or at least they're paying for their craft. They may have been YouTubers for 10 years. They may have had a podcast for 10 years before they even started to break even and see a dime. It is the long game. It is a marathon, not a sprint, as they say, right? So let me go back to this. So they didn't disclose the terms of the pact or what the amount and all of this and how long this licensing deal runs. So no word on that, no details are, but when I find it, I'll let you all know. But what this partnership is going to do is bring sports and culture and lifestyle and true crime podcasts from Spotify Studios and The Ringer that, quote, complement Netflix's existing programming and unlocks new audiences and wider distribution for the shows. Now, what does this tell us? Let's just take a minute and see what this tells us. Do you know how many people I've seen that have been begging for Netflix deals? You know, I don't like bigotry, but okay, that's fine. This is what you do. I understand you want it on a large platform. I don't like bigotry, but I understand you want it on a large platform. Does this seem like a way that you can have your foot in the door? Start creating your own stuff. I mean, I don't know how many ways I have to say it. No matter how many times the ball bounces, there's still no bones in ice cream. That's the name of the song. But I always use it when it comes to stuff like this. We have to start just doing it. You keep waiting for people to give you permission. So maybe now that you know that podcasting could be an entree to other things and to that you want to do, maybe now you'll sit down, buy the proper equipment, come up with proper topics, have a podcast, and start creating. I have news for you. They're not just the people that you see that they're picking from YouTube. They actually create things. They don't just give them an idea or shoot a pilot or two, and then they're creating things. There is a pattern here, and I need you, if you really want this to be your field and you want this to work, you have to pay attention to that pattern. Oh, they got a deal because they've been creating stuff. Case closed. The defense rests. Anyway, so that's what's happening there. So it may be time for you to, and this is not just an audio podcast, you can upload video to Spotify too. So if you have episodes of a podcast that you've also shot video for, you can upload those to Spotify. You never know who will notice it, and you never know who will start watching and listening and become part of your community or tribe, if you will, right? Okay, let's do this. Let me see what folks are saying. And we've got some comments here. There is an actress that has AI representation. Does the AI singer have agent representation? It shows a huge change for creatives and their negotiation rights. Yeah, so the AI, I forgot the name of that AI actress, but they create these AI actors and actresses to basically be in things. They will be for commercials, for feature-length films, etc. So they're creating them specifically for that. So those are their agents, and it's the same thing with the music. They're represented by that company that is kind of creating them. Although remember, there are people behind it. So I don't know what the logistics are for that and what kind of deals, whether it's a licensing deal that they have with the creators or if the creators work directly for them. I'm not sure, but if that makes any sense, that's what the representation is. Okay, and Bryson gives us some information. Peacock and Apple TV have teamed up with a bundle for $14.99 per month. I saw that. Thank you for that very much. Yes, Zania Monet. Yes, that is the. Hey, Durham, that's my word. Instead of begging, I say bigotry. I can't stand bigotry because it's not just bigotry is the highest level of putting yourself out there for, please, sir, could I have some more? I can't stand bigotry. Okay. And this is what people are doing. Bigotry. Let's see. Thank you, Tilly Norwood. That is her name. The AI actress is Tilly Norwood. And Jeanette also says, interestingly, AI is now built into most or all search engines. Yes, you're going to be hard pressed to find a search engine that does not have an AI component. 2 minutes left. Let's do this. I think we need to do a tech story. Yeah, let's do a tech story. So we are going to go straight into tech right after this. Okay, so let me this is a good one. Since we're talking AI, let's talk a little Chat GPT and where it is in terms of popularity. Here we go. Where are you? There you are. All right. And let me take down this. How about I take down this comment, huh? Okay. There we go. All right. So, ChatGPT, the mobile app is actually slowing down in terms of growth and daily use, according to an analysis by Apptopia. So, what does that mean? It may have hit its peak. The growth for the mobile app may have hit its peak. This is looking at an analysis of download trends and daily active users provided by Apptopia. And so they are estimating that new user growth measured by percentage changes and in new global downloads slowed after April. Now, let me take this down so you can see my face. That makes sense. There's something we call saturation point in media, but that works with tech, etc. At some point, you reach saturation point, which means everybody who is going to download what that app is or buy that piece of equipment at some point does it, right? Now, with TV, it's interesting because we seem to be going backwards. Now, I need to look and see. At one point, we were going backwards because remember, some people are TV nevers. I know some like Gen Zers that they don't have a TV because they watch stuff on their phone. And if I'm honest, because I just bought, I told you all, I have one TV and I in the rooms in the back, I did not. So I would take my phone and then curl up with it if I wanted to watch something before. But then I said, you know what? Let me act like I have, like I'm in a hotel. Let me get another TV for back there because TVs are cheap now. So, but still, if I don't want that whole TV on and I'm in the dark, I will still watch my phone, right? So we had at some point seemed to be going backwards in terms of not as many TVs that we used to have, whereas there used to be one in every room. For some, we're going backwards. I need to look at that trend again. But at one point, we reached saturation point, which means everybody who was going to get a television was going to get a television, had it, right? Why do you think television sets, not just because of the technology getting better than that it got so cheap, because that's what happens with mass production, but at some point, everybody has it. And if you have this television that's sky high, although some of them are, how many people do you think are going to get it, particularly if they have one that works and people are not watching it as much because they're using devices? Of course, you could get a television for $10. Not really, but you know what I'm trying to say, right? So that is what the study is saying, that we've reached a point where the growth has slowed. So until something new comes out, that doesn't mean everyone has ChatGPT, the app, not at all. But until something earth-shattering happens with that, with ChatGPT, to warrant more people who don't have it downloading it, we're going to see continued slow growth or stalled. I shouldn't say slow, slowed down or backwards, but stalled. That's what we'll see. Let's see what folks are saying. And this is going to be our last story. Mark Ward says, now that ChatGPT is going to allow, the business will pick up and we will suffer a water. Goodness gracious me. That's a whole other show, Mark Ward. Whole other show. Yes, going back to the Tilly Hedgepeth, Hedgewick. Well, Tilly. She apparently is up for casting in movies. Yes. This is the thing. But you know what? Who's going to determine whether or not it works is the audience. You can have all the hopes you want for Tilly, Twilly, Lily, all the hopes you want for her, but if we don't accept her and we don't find her palatable, you're going to have to dismantle that piece of code, unprompt her. Anyway, I didn't see that, but it says, right, you talking about an article, Ryan Reynolds casts a human actress with the same name, so counter to the AI. Oh, interesting. Okay, interesting. And yeah, so that is it, folks. Just about an hour, 3 minutes over. Thank you all so much for hanging with me. I just love Friday nights. I think they work. I did Wednesdays for 10 years. Needed a change. So Friday nights work. It is a Friday night hangout, and I'm glad that you were hanging out here with me. There is something that I don't know, Amma, if you're still here, what I need to do before we go. Let me see if I can bring this up. I should have thought about it before so that I'm not struggling and strifing now. Hold on. Let me put this inside here and see if I can add it so I can tell you. We have a special program coming up on Sunday. Indie Soup Media does with the National Black Debutante Project. You know that Indie Soup Media is the media sponsor for the National Black Debutante Project. And we're super happy to be a part of it. And I'm trying to find the flyer. I didn't think about this before. I should have. Yep, here we are. So let me let it upload, and here we go. So on October 19th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will be doing African American Cotillions Launching Legacies 2.0. And you see, we have a wonderful panel of informants. No, a wonderful panel of guests that are going to speak on the legacies of African American cotillions. We did have a first part of it, and now this is like part two. Wouldn't you say that, Dr. Harris? So Dr. Nikita Harris is the executive director of the National Black Debutante Project, and she will be the host and conducting the interviews and moderating. We're really excited about that. Thank you so much, Dr. Harris, for trusting Indie Soup Media with your streaming needs and for allowing us to be a sponsor of this amazing program. And we do these things just about once a month, so make sure that you join us, and you can always watch the replay. And here's the thing with Indie Soup Media, let me take this down. We were just broadcasting that in 2 places because I had to change our Facebook. But guess what? Our new Facebook is up, so we will be going live in 3 places: Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. YouTube is probably the easiest way to reach. You can look at the National Black Debutante Instagram and get information, and Facebook and get information that way. And of course, I will be posting information as well. Let's see. Jeanette says, great show. You always feel expanded. Thank you so much. And oh, good. Well, we love you more. Thank you so much for including us in this wonderful project. And with that, thank you, Serena, for saying great show. Thank you for the great hosting of the MediaScope food truck. Mark Ward said, next MediaScope will feature AI correspondent Sashi Imu. Who is Sashi Imu? Me? You know what? Good night. Good night, Mark. Good night. Oh, goodness gracious. So, as always, I am going to do the things that I always do, say the things that I always say. I sincerely love you for watching or listening. I bid you adieu. You all, myself, all of this information, and Sasha Imu, we're going to exit stage left. Until next Friday, my friends, cheers.
Close the doors, walk across the corridor. We got something to show you. Media is our repertoire. Fed up with the same use, no channel to use. Cruise control mentalities. Here we offer you. We gon' show you how you play. The content it never stays. We're positive and uplifting. Once a week, the scope gifted.